152, Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. We
May be seated.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם.
אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 157, please join me responsively in the English. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. High heavens declare
your glory, may earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves in your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace.
Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora
Tehillah,
oseh
Feleh,
Nora
Tehilot,
oseh
Feleh, Imloch leolam va'ed.
מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע הים לבני משה ומרים. זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש.
נורא
תהילות
עושה
פלא,
נורא
תהילות
עושה
פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כבוד אדוני ליעקב, וגאלו ביד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני
kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Tehilot, Tehilot, Fele, Adonai, Himlo, Leolam
From the mouths of the prophets sitting amongst us, we turn to page 160 for the words of the Hashkivenu, the words that we read in the evening, asking us for a shelter of peace around us. And after the weeks, months, year we have had, there are no better words than those found on page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and truth. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Baruch ata Adonai haporeh sukat shalom aleinu ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Page 162 contains the words of the Vishamru, the words that remind us why we all gathered together today. Why does it have to be Fridays? Why does it have to be here? Why does it come at all? And that's because it goes all the way back to the words that we read here on page 162. So we invite you to sing along with us, to follow along with us, and join us in the words.
Shall
reach that part in our service called tefillah, the prayer, the amidah, the words that are central to our service, the words in which we are meant to get lost in. And to mark that moment, there is no better person to join us, to help lead us through that section than our bat mitzvah of tomorrow. So I'm going to invite Finley. Yeah, you, Finley. That's right. Finley's looking around like, am I talking to? Yes. Come on up. So we're going to join with Finley. We're going to turn to page 164 as together we rise for tefillah. You may be seated. Join us with the English on the top of page 173.
May
These hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, mikadesh ha-Shabbat. We leave the encore performance for tomorrow to leave you wanting a little more from Finley. So we'll invite you to join us back and witness all of her prowess and the pride of her family as she becomes a bat mitzvah tomorrow. We reach that point in our service where we think about those who could use a little more healing. Healing of the mind, healing of the body, of the spirit, of the soul. So if there are those here that have someone whose name is on their mind this evening or in their heart tonight, those who could be in use of some extra prayers, we invite you to share their name aloud with us this evening. Together we'll offer our prayer of Misha Berach.
Gail Menard. Mikazar Nathanstown and Varnai Ayala.
Leah Carolyn. Down north. Brennan Chimes. Sheila Shover.
As Rabbi Masitsky opened our service this evening, our minds are also with our communities across the world, but especially this evening in Australia. Those that are across Europe this evening, for whom we hope find the same peace and solace that we can find in our congregation tonight, as well as those brothers and sisters of ours who are currently in Israel celebrating yet another Shabbat with empty tables among them. For all of them, we offer these words of Misha Berach. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those names said aloud, said in our minds and in our hearts. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. We praise you, O God, source of healing. Those that crafted our liturgy knew that as many words as they could put in front of us, there would come a time in each and every service where we leave the written word of the page and we travel deep within ourselves. Shabbat is not a time when we ask for things. It is 25 hours of rest and renewal and reflection. It is a time spent with those that we love, a time spent honoring and cherishing those for whom we hold so dear and so proud. And so as we sit here this evening, the best part, as we say to our preschool students in the morning, of which there goes one right now, it's because she's heard this before. She doesn't need to hear it from me again. But as we say to our preschool students, Shabbat is the great reset button built into our lives. It doesn't matter what the week before held. It doesn't matter what the week in front of us will hold. We get to hold and press that reset button whether we want to or not. We get to spend time over what we would call our weekends here, but what the Jewish people pioneered as the original weekend, the 25 hours of Shabbat. So as we get to come together this evening and this weekend and celebrate blessings upon blessings, let us take a few minutes for quiet reflection as we travel deep inside our hearts, our souls, and our minds, and think about the blessings that we were given as we have the chance to celebrate another Shabbat together. We pause for a few moments. One of the challenges that is presented to rabbis on Friday evenings is the chance to speak from the bima and not steal the thunder from the bar or bat mitzvah the next day. Because you don't need me to teach you about the Torah portion. We have a wonderful teacher who is going to teach us all about it tomorrow. But here's the great thing about Finley. Finley's mincha service actually teaches us about next week's Torah portion. So that gives me the opportunity to not show her up, or rather for her not to show me up tomorrow, to talk about what we read about this week. And the interesting thing about the two parashot that we have this week and next week is they are sister portions. They intertwine together. Sometimes they go side by side. Finley, what's the main, I have to put you on the spot, what's the main character of the story that you're talking about tomorrow? Jacob, that's right. Yeah. Do we know what Jacob's known for? Ah, yes. So in Finley's parasha that she will tell us all about tomorrow, Jacob runs away. But before he runs away, we have this week's Torah portion where we figure out kind of why he's running away, and that's because he's got a lot going on. I noticed before, when we were all in the congregation together in various moments, oftentimes during silent prayer, oftentimes just in those certain moments, I saw people's eyes close. By a quick show of hands, because we're a small, intimate group this evening. And by the way, this has nothing to do with Judaism per se, although I'm going to get there in a moment. But people of every faith and culture, quick show of hands, who in moments of concentration, whether it's prayer, meditation, whatever it is, closes their eyes? Ah, everybody. And so the question is, why do we do that? We are present in this world. This world seemingly contains every mystery that we have, every bit of being that we are, every bit of consciousness happens in this world around us. In fact, when we're told sometimes we're not paying attention, what do we say? Open your eyes, sit up straight, get your head out of the clouds, be present, be in the moment. And yet, the times when we find ourselves the most concentrated on the things that matter to us, we close our eyes. It's almost as if there's a different consciousness that we have when our eyes are closed. The same thing, I believe, has been permeating history from the beginning of humanity. I'm big into that stuff. I'm big into the idea that there are these universal factors that unite us, and I believe that Judaism has tapped them kind of from the first moments of organized society and brought them to what they are today. Part of that is sitting right here in front of us. We take this for granted. The idea that we saw the Sandler family come up and kindle these flames, but bring ourselves back thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. And the idea of gathering around the only thing that brings light and warmth into this world was revolutionary. And we still do it today. How many of us gather around fires, around campfires, to sing songs, to welcome in certain evenings? In our parashah this week, we read about another one of those things that brings us back to what society has kind of known all along, and that is the idea of dreams. Dreaming takes this place in Judaism, this deep and visceral, and almost as we would call it in science, the reptilian brain takes over in this dream state. Again, I'll do a quick show of hands. How many people have felt they have had a visit or a premonition or another presence or someone who's past visited them ever in a dream? Pretty staggering. And yet dreaming is one of the things we as humanity still know very little about. We don't even know why we do it. Why should our brain, seemingly which taking a break, suddenly go into overdrive and present these emotions and feelings? We had an unbelievable lecturer here a few weeks ago for one of our scientists and synagogue programs that delved on the afterlife, but it kind of went tiptoeing into consciousness. The Talmud teaches us that our dreams are 1/16th premonition. And you go, 16th is something. But even a fraction of the fact that we can have premonitions when we are sleeping harkens back to the stories that we read in our Torah, this week being one of them. We read of Jacob who finds a spot seemingly in the middle of nowhere. Later on, we will learn that it is the same spot on which Abraham went to sacrifice Isaac, the same spot on which we would eventually build a city of peace called Jerusalem, the same spot on which we would put God's temple, the same place on which the presence of God would come down and descend, the same spot on which the high priests would visit once a year on Yom Kippur. That spot is where Jacob laid his head and had his dream. And he dreamt of a big ladder coming up from the earth and up into heaven, and he dreamt of the angels. Does anyone remember this part of the story? Yeah? And the angels, where were they going? Were they going down and then up? Where were they going?
Side to side.
Close. That would be a good one, side to side, close to that. They're not going down to up. The angels are going up and down. Which tells us that there are angels among us. This becomes one of the very first moments of dream interpretation that we find in our history. We're still in the book of Genesis. We're early into there. And who would have thought that years and years later Freud would be in the same camp as our Talmud Buchers, as our scholars? And yet here we find ourselves with the idea of dreams in Judaism being foundational to who we are. When we dream, we seemingly leave the world we're in, and some say connect to some other world out there, so much so that beginning with this story and all throughout the Torah, we will find other incidents of dreams. One of the largest ones, of course, being known in our Torah, also known on Broadway. That's right, Joseph, who dreams his dreams, allows him to get his freedom from being locked up, and in fact, brings the entire story of the Exodus full circle, all because of dreams. Dreams visit our stories all throughout, almost as a way to tell us something. That if we look back on it now, that even thousands of years ago, dreams were something we didn't quite understand, but we knew had power. Today, Judaism has determined that there are various things that we might see in a dream that have meaning. It reminds me a little bit of the drash that Rabbi Maznitsky gave a few weeks ago about superstitions in Judaism. Because there are things that I remember hearing from my mother telling me about her mother, telling her that happened in dreams. For instance, did you know that if you dream of an egg, it's a sign that you have a pending request, almost as if it's waiting to be hatched? And if the eggs are broken or scrambled, or you're dreaming of an omelet sitting at the country squire, then your request has already been granted. You can dream of grapes, but by the way, the color of the grape matters. A light-colored grape, a green grape, is going to be different than a dark grape, which has a different kind of omen. If they're dark grapes, they're out of season, and they're a bad omen. The light green grapes, an omen of good to come. Olives mean you are going to have some kind of positive moment in business. Wheat is a symbol of peace. We move to animals from food. Dreaming of a goat, yes, you might have seen Wicked, and maybe it's playing into your head, but it also means your year will be blessed. The elephant depends on whether or not he is saddled. The goose tells you that you have wisdom pending. All of these things that come from our shared history that go into the worlds that we create in our dreams. All good omens come from colors. Blue is the color of the sky, meaning there is something about to fall for you. Entering a city means you are about to have your desires fulfilled. Shaving your head in your dream, that means you have good things coming to you. And standing naked in public, those dreams that we have in front of the class, well, I got good news and bad news for you. If the dream takes place in Babylonia, in which you are unclothed, you are free of wrongdoing. But if it takes place in Israel, it means you are lacking mitzvot. The rabbis unfortunately neglect to say what happens if it happens in front of your high school class. The point this evening is a point that we make quite often. That while some of us think of those scrolls that are sitting behind us as an accumulation of stories, and some people think they are the word of God themselves, it doesn't matter in my mind. Either way, the holiness that exudes from them is incredible. The fact that for thousands of years we have known things in our shared history that still today modern science and medicine are trying to figure out is in itself holiness. And in my mind, it is yet another moment in which we can find God in the mundane moments of our everyday life. Shabbat Shalom. Look forward to you joining us tomorrow for Finley's presentation of next week's parashah. But if you care to read about this week's, simply Google it. It'll tell you an incredible story about Jacob and all of his dreams. Our service continues this evening with the words of the Aleinu on page 586. As together we all rise, we open our ark, and we join together for the words on the top.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוסף ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהן, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
And we remain standing as our thoughts turn to those who are no longer in our presence. Every time we come together, we know there are some within our midst who are here to not just join in the memories, in the joys of Shabbat and the memories of those who have passed. And so this evening, we remember those from our community who have been taken from us in this season past. Joan Krakauer, Marilyn Meiselman, Edmund Myers, Esther Nichter, Louis Rosenberg, Rhoda Schneider. We remember those taken from us in recent days, those in the period of Shloshim, Raymond Massa, father of Jim Massa. This Shabbat rings in not just those from our community, but those around the world who are remembering yahrzeits this evening. It is 5 years this Shabbat. Those of the kosher supermarket in Jersey City were gunned down for no other cause than simply being Jewish and trying to pick up their groceries that week. This same Shabbat, we remember two from Israel whose names made headlines this week for all of the wrong reasons. Captain Omer Nutra, an Israeli and American, was a lone soldier. That means he was someone who went over to Israel with no family there of his own. He wasn't drafted to service. He didn't get his notice in the mail. He could have stayed here in America and lived his life to his fullest, but instead he felt a calling that brought him to Eretz Yisrael to serve in the Israeli Defense Force. Captain Nutra has been missing since October 7th. His whereabouts unknown, his status unknown, and it came out this week that indeed he had lost his life in battle on October 7th, nearly 14 months ago. And this is the first Shabbat we are together again since learning of the passing of another IDF soldier. Yonah Brief was a soldier adopted by Temple Har Shalom. Yonah was a member of a Dudavan force, a special force of Israel that you might know from the show Fauda. It is the most elite, highly trained force of soldiers across the IDF. And Yonah, a young soldier himself, responded on October 7th. And since that day, when he fought to save so many lives besides his own, he has been in intensive care unit to intensive care unit, fighting, battling for his life the same way he did on October 7th, as a hero. I had the chance a few months ago to visit IDF soldiers here in New York, random soldiers that were in the city speaking. And one gave his story of that day, and it sounded oddly familiar to Yonah, the soldier that we adopted. We've had the chance to meet Yonah's family, myself once, Rabbi Kaplan, Rabbi Metzitsky twice on their visits to Israel. And so I had just spent time with his father a few weeks before that, and the story sounded familiar, and the place they fought sounded familiar. And so after our talk, I went over to the soldier, and in my Hebrew said to him, "Do you know Yonah Brief?" And his eyes lit up. And he said to me, "Yonah is my brother. Not my brother in blood, but my brother who I fought against." I said, "I just visited with his father," and I brought out a picture of him and me and his father sitting there. He goes, "That's Jonah's father." I said, "I know, that's Yonah's father." And he showed a picture of me standing along the bedside of Yonah, celebrating Shabbat with him, a picture that we had seen in the lobby in Israel when we had visited. The stories that we hear of Captain Nutra, of Yonah Brief, of all of those who have lost their lives to this war are more than just ones that ring through the headlines. They're more than just names on a piece of paper. They are a part of who we are. So this evening, as we prepare to say the words of the Kaddish on page 598, we think not just about those in our own midst. We think not just about the nameless soldiers who lose their lives. We think about the entirety of the IDF, the entirety of the American Armed Forces. We think of Captain Nutra, whose family this week is saying their Kaddish for the first time. And we think of our dear Yonah Brief, his family still reeling from the last 14 months, and who can count among us those mourners who are paying our respects. Together we read the words on page 598 of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach yirutei v'yalmich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amem. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam almei almaya, v'yitbarach v'yishtapach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal Shemei dekudesha berechu, Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'ama v'imru amem. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amem. Oseh shalom b'mroma, v'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, as we say, Amen. You may be seated. And while it might seem out of place to jump from moments like that into moments of joy, that is, in fact, what we are commanded to do in Judaism all throughout our moments, because we are able to think about those with whom we have lost, those tragic stories, and supplant that sadness in our heart with the joy of seeing the next generation of strong, proud, and powerful Jews in our midst. And we are prepared to welcome yet another one to our Bima tomorrow as we are witness to Finley Sandler becoming a bat mitzvah in front of our congregation tomorrow evening. Finley is the second bat mitzvah in our congregation for which we are able to start our new tradition, and that is the awarding of various certificates and gifts on behalf of the congregation here on the Friday evening service, so our bar and bat mitzvah have a chance to reel in it, to enjoy it, to listen to the words, and not be thinking about what time they can get out of here to go to their party. So to offer some words and remarks, it is my pleasure to call upon a member of our Board of Trustees, a member of our Executive Board, the Secretary of our congregation, and I know a very close personal friend of the Sandlers. It's my honor to welcome up to the Bima this evening, Justin Silverberg. Finley, why don't you come join us
Yeah.
up here? You don't need to sit, you're good. Come stand right over here.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Finley, it is my tremendous honor to be here tonight celebrating you. On behalf of the Temple's Board of Trustees and the entire congregation, and as someone who's had the privilege of knowing you since you were 4 years old, I want to say how proud we are of you. Mazel tov to you, to your family, John, Kelly, Avery, Ellis, Mel, Jean, and Bob. Finley, it feels like yesterday when my family moved to Far Hills in 2016. You and Sydney became fast friends at the JCC, and our families quickly followed suit. From those early days to our annual tailgate at the Far Hills races, to countless holidays and special events, to camping trips with you, your dad, Avery, Sydney, and me. We've shared countless special moments together, and I've watched you grow from a bright-eyed toddler to a confident, driven, and compassionate young woman. Life is filled with so many unexpected surprises and extraordinary moments, but never in a million years would I have imagined that I would be speaking at your bat mitzvah. Since you were little, I've always referred to you as my favorite Sandler. Now, to be fair, there were moments when Ellis and Avery nearly knocked you off that pedestal, and Kelly has always been the nicest Sandler to me. But somehow you always managed to hold on to your title. All kidding aside, this weekend marks the third Sandler bat mitzvah that I've attended in 2 years. First, I saw Avery crush her bat mitzvah and her embodiment of Tikkun Olam through her bat mitzvah project, where she reminded us of the importance of repairing the world. Then it was your mother's turn. Kelly inspired us with her passion for Judaism, her dedication to learn to read the Torah, and her courage to become a bat mitzvah to a packed house on the high holidays earlier this year. And now it's your turn, and I'm reminded of something Serena Williams once said. Every woman's success should be an inspiration to another. Avery and your mom set the bar high, but no pressure. My money's on my favorite Sandler, so don't let me down. Did you know that your Hebrew name Eden means delight or paradise? It describes you perfectly. Like the Garden of Eden, you bring joy, beauty, and endless potential to everyone who knows you. We practiced. You embody these qualities every day, whether you're lifting up your friends, being an amazing sister, or filling your parents with so much pride. I heard that, Avery. Your connection to Judaism is strong. It started in your home with your parents, and it continued to grow and blossom at the JCC, then here at Har Shalom and in our J School, and also at Camp Kindering. This weekend, as you become a bat mitzvah, you officially step into adulthood in the eyes of our tradition. Your journey to this day has been filled with dedication, and I know you will continue to make an impact one step at a time. As you step into this new chapter, remember that your bat mitzvah is not an ending. It is the beginning of your journey as a Jewish adult, filled with opportunities to lead, learn, and make meaningful contributions here at Har Shalom and beyond the walls of our shul. As you become a bat mitzvah, and you stand on this bima as the star player in your own World Series, this moment is all about you, and we're so proud of you. I can't wait to watch you hit it out of the park tomorrow. Your love of softball shows how clutch you are, on and off the field. You've got the riz to inspire your teammates, the skills of a Sigma leader, and the determination to rise to every challenge. Even in those skibbity moments, what's even happening right now times, you manage to stay cool, adapt, and shine. And let's not forget your Gen Alpha vibe. It's iconic. Whether you're hyping everybody up or staying unbothered, you're always keeping it 100. Sydney tells me how much she looks up to you for your confidence, your kindness, and your ability to stay real no matter what. You're the blueprint for what it means to be both fierce and compassionate. You're a true MVP in every way. And like your Hebrew name Eden, you are a delight and a blessing to everyone who knows you. This is your World Series, and your biggest fans are here to cheer you on. Your parents, Avery and Ellis, your grandparents, and your extended family and friends. This moment is all about you, and we're so proud of you. Mazel tov on this epic accomplishment. Shabbat Shalom.
I did not have Justin Silberberg using Skibbity and Riz on my Shabbat bingo card. I think your kids might be telling you to say less after the service. In the bag that Finley just hastened off of the bima, She'll find many gifts in there, certificates to further her education, for trips. But most appropriately for this weekend in there is a gift on behalf of the congregation. It is a Kiddush cup that we will encourage Finley to use tomorrow as she makes her Kiddush and her Bat Mitzvah, and wishing sweetness not just for the day, but for her Jewish journey ahead. So we look forward to celebrating Finley tomorrow evening here in the sanctuary at 5 p.m. for our Mincha service. Coming up over the next few weeks, it is hard to believe we are already in December, and it is hard to believe how far we are from Chanukah, which doesn't come until the 25th. It's the only thing going on December 25th is Hanukkah. They're putting these lights up for Hanukkah everywhere. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. We have a couple events coming up on our calendar that should not be missed. We want to invite you to join us next Friday evening at 6:30. It is an early service, or 6 o'clock if you RSVP, for our Hanukkah Pajamaka celebration. It is our extravaganza for Hanukkah. We invite you to come in your pajamas, Hanukkah themed ideally, but any PJs work for us. At 6 o'clock, we have a free community dinner in the back with the only thing that one can eat when they're wearing pajamas, breakfast for dinner. And then we will join together after our French toast sticks and our bagels and our syrup, and we will join together at 6:30 for our Hanukkah Pajamaka service. And that will be followed, of course, by some of the best sufganiyot, some of the best donuts that we have had to date at our oneg that night. So that is not to be missed next Friday evening. The very next night, Saturday evening, is another Hanukkah extravaganza. It is our Vodka Latka event. If you have not RSVP'd yet, we encourage you to do so. Not only is it a wonderful celebration hosted by the Sisterhood and a beautiful party that we go to, but this year it is also the kickoff celebration in honoring the 18 years of Rabbi Masnitsky here in our congregation as we continue to celebrate each and every moment of her year of retirement. So come, toast a shot, have a latke, and help us mark the moment of a season of dedication, not just for our Chanukiot, but for Rabbi Masnitsky. Finally, next times that you visit us over the course of the next few weeks, we encourage you to join us in bringing things for our food and toy drive. We know that we are mere miles from communities in which do not have the resources to find the same joy that we find in the holiday season, regardless of what holidays they may celebrate. So we encourage you, next time you walk in the building, visit our website, look in our email blast. We're looking for all kind of non-perishable items, as well as toys, gift cards for the community of El Centro in Plainfield. Again, if you want to know what to bring, simply check our website or our email blast. There'll be an entire list. You can drop it off next time you're in the building. You can make a special trip, whatever it is. Help us to fulfill the mitzvah of helping others this holiday season. With that, it is time for our closing song and a quick motzi, and then a chance to join us outside for some delicious sweet treats in honor of Finley and the Sandler family. So, Cantor, what are we closing with this evening?
With Adon Olam on page 625.
Classic bookends today. Yeah, please.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzei nivra le'et laza v'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kivlot hakol levado bimloch
Toda Rabba Ani Asher Kochach, to our cantor, to John, our accompanist. It is always a pleasure to be here on the Bima, sharing it with Rabbi Masitsky as well. I always love the chance to be able to give you a break on the Friday evenings as much as you'd like it. But we never close without making a motzi so that we can enjoy some sweet treats outside. So I'm going to invite, come on up, Silverbergs, come on, Pressmans, Sandlers, whoever else. All right, Cantor?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, v'te'avon.
Te'avon, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Good job, yeah.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.